All right, guys, I want to do a food plot update video. Now that I know my uncle's funeral arrangements, I've got some time to do one more video. There may be another extended break coming until we can settle down with my family's end of things, and we'll go from there. But I will be back on my regular video schedule once things kind of get taken care of. But anyway, let's get on with the food plot update here. As you can see, soybean is just flat out erupting right now, growing extremely fast, setting all kinds of tonnage records as far as average leaf size in here. New records all the time right now, thanks to copper treatments, manganese, lots of potassium. I put out another 50 pounds of potassium in here. Actually, I put out 100 pounds of potassium over the whole plot. I mainly focused, I would say, 65 pounds from section 2 on up, and then the rest of it come down here. So I'm trying to help balance out the potassium issue as you head uphill. I mean, you can see those sunflowers are definitely loving it. Big old flower heads everywhere. But this plot's nutrition rate is skyrocketing, and the soybean at this point is growing so fast that it is covering deer browse up. I mean, I found, you can go out this way and you'll find where it's been destroyed, but new leaves are already covering that browse up. It's really humming right now. I would say the average plant size is around 3 feet, and it's putting on about a foot a week or more. I mean, it's really going right now. Some of them are starting to show a few flowers. Others are just, I'm just getting as big as I can, and then we'll worry about flowering out later. Now, here's one thing that's going to be different that I'm trying to emphasize. The matted soybean issue is what I'm trying to overcome. So this is a great example of what happens when you give soybean room to run, especially for you guys that plant them in rows. I'm not doing rows, I'm just broadcasting by hand. So when you give one room to run, you get these great big thick stalks. That one is cracking. It may split, but you get these big limbs that develop everywhere in here, and it fills in much larger gaps. So that's why when I back down my rate, the soybean is performing much better with less of them. So I'm getting, if it wasn't for, like some of these gaps right here that are open, like right here, this would look like the same sow rate that I set out last year. That's how bushy these guys are getting. They're filling in every gap they can find. And these bigger areas, they are definitely long limbing to the point to where some of the limbs are breaking off. I mean, it is definitely chugging as far as trying to soak up as much space as they can. Right here, you can see I did spray it but didn't get enough on it. Now's the time to come back in here and do a wipeout. So I noticed there wasn't quite as much resprout of the morning coffee here. That was usually a pretty good carpet, but it seems to be a little slower this time filling back out. So maybe we're reaching a point to where a dent is being made in this seed bed. And the fewer of them there are, the happier I become. But there's so much high quality tonnage. Now that I've introduced copper in here, we've got boron treatment that I did at the beginning of the year, which I'll probably do another boron treatment probably sometime in February, and we'll go from there on that. But I've also added manganese sulfate, potassium sulfate, so I'm fixing those, but I'm also raising my sulfur level slowly with those types of fertilizers, especially with the sulfate versions, and this has really helped my protein output. And when I do my Twin Towers progression video, you're going to see he's pretty nice yearling for sure. You've seen a few pictures of him, but he's not finished out yet. Here we have a problem. The gap was growing. We have a groundhog that has moved back in here. So I'm going to annihilate him. And right there's where his hole is. He's cleaned it out, mounted dirt up, and I shoved rocks back down in there again. And I will be waiting on him to make a mistake. So I've been hunting him off and on for about 3 days. And hopefully in the next 2 or 3, depending on how busy I get, I should hopefully be able to take care of him. Sun hemp. That is one sun hemp plant that is just bushing out like crazy. Big, thick stalks in here. You can see that there. They're getting really thick. It's only going to get thicker as that tree, or this, as that plant keeps growing at the rate it does, keeps creating more new limbs. It just keeps going until frost hits. Sunflowers are doing very well. This one was originally topped off by deer, and you can see how it suckered back and made a bunch of small heads. I also, when I did the potassium out here, I've added more potassium. This up through here started looking a little better, but it's still, I need to wait another 3 to 5 days to see a better effect. I'm getting rain to help, but it's just waiting for it to really kick in these plants. But you can see my protein level here, as far as my greenery goes, looks really good. Now there is a major difference between last year's bean crop and this year's bean crop. And that is this right here. Look at how shiny that is. Right? The health of this plant is so much better than last year's. I mean, look at that green. Super, super green. And they are still annihilating it. They have basically settled, for the most part. About 80% of their browse is now focused on section 2 and 1. They are literally hosing that down and keeping it from maturing to full heights. So there'll be places in there, probably won't get no taller than 3 feet as far as soybean goes. Here's going to be another chance to wipe out some morning glories, reduce that seed bank a little bit. Deer's eating them, but they become a problem if you get too many of them in here. And this area down here is getting borderline of that, and I don't like it. And this area here, deer have been really focused on it. They're eating these soybeans down to nubs right here. And then they kind of fan out and go back toward the creek. They really haven't been hitting on this side anymore. It's filling in really fast because of that now. Cowpeas, still no evidence of browse that I could see. And this is my 3rd year with them. So not that it's a bad thing. That will get better once deer get accustomed to them. They're just taking a little longer to do it. So it's going to keep getting planted just because of how well it fixes my soil. Another bean stripped. You think they'd be hitting these cowpeas. I'm trying to mix some good tasting plants in there to create accidental browse, if you want to view it that way. And that way they can go, okay, it's not that bad, and start eating it. But until then, cowpeas are going to get free rein. Nothing really holding them back. I put out a lot of potassium in here to raise it even more. 50 pounds. No, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Yeah, 50 pounds was scattered from here and here. No, I am sorry once again. My numbers are getting confused. You can see some of it right there. I did a 45 pound rate here and 65 on section 1 and 2 because they needed so much help up there. And I'm trying to make it to where you can't tell a difference in plant size as you head up the hill. And we're getting there. Very, very close. Some massive looking sunflowers. You can see my screen wall. That too. Let me get over here into that. That screen wall has been extremely explosive once the rain returned. It's probably put on 2.5, 3 feet since the last video. Still growing taller. Let me see if I can get out of here real quick, and I'll show you from a cleaner perspective. So here you can kind of see how tall this is getting, right? Completely blocking stuff out now. And let me go down here and cut through this little thin area. It's like a dang jungle. All right, see how much taller we are? Yes. This is looking so much better. The color has greened up quite a bit. Lot better color. Leaves can be bigger than this, but that's potassium that's still needing to be put in here. But this screen wall is literally doing its job now. Much, much better. So most of that, if you're looking at that tall one right there, that's 11.5 feet, 11 to 11.5 feet, somewhere in there. Way on up there. It's still getting taller too. So this Egyptian wheat is still gaining some more height, which is helping to hide deer. You know, like on average, that seed head right there, see how it's not all the way out of that hanging leaf? You add another foot, 1.5 feet to that, that'll probably be the top out point for it. So we may have some 13-foot high screen wall material this year. But looking great. So all the plot is doing the best it's ever done. And as these trace minerals keep getting compiled and added, new ones approach next year, you know, we're going to build a plot that is so dang nutritious that it'll cover what a 4 to 5 acre plot would in no time at all with the level of nutrition I'm giving these guys. So when you step in here, we are still green as a gourd. Absolutely love it. The first year I ever had my soybean to even get this tall, I was so excited. Now I look at it and it's like, man, you got a ways to go. So we still got all of August, September, October. We'll see what happens with it. Growing great. And up here, a lot of weeds. I may bush hog this once the buckwheat is done seeding out, and maybe try to get another wave of buckwheat to grow in here. I don't know yet. I'm still turning my gears on that. Plenty of vetch in here. That really isn't the problem. It'll continue to overpower everything at some point. All right. Here's what happens when you can plant too many sunflowers together. It shades out everything, especially next to this screen wall. So, but the vetch is not fazed by it. So grows in low light. Other plants did not. Up here, you're gonna see a lot of browse. See how we're already starting? Deer are literally back here destroying this. So they have settled a bunch of their time in this upper part of the plot. They're hidden. There's so much food here, they don't have to really migrate anywhere else. See how thick that sun hemp has gotten? That's going to boost nitrogen big time right there. A lot of good looking plants, and yes, one more round of spray killing off nasty resprouts. And that will help this area a lot in the future. Even here, we have some bad growing spots in here. This has always been bad. But there are signs of improvement. This sun hemp has snapped out of it, taken off, much bigger leaves. So now, if there was soybean to be replanted right here, it would do much better. So next year, this gap won't be as bad. Also, there is a groundhog number 2 right up here. I don't need that. Every year I clean this place out and 2 more move in. Eventually that rotation can stop. But until then, I gotta stay on it. But this is really good news for section 1, minus the morning glories that I allowed to resprout, and they are just carpeting out all over the place as fast as they can go. But the more we go this way now, the stronger every plant is getting. This is the best looking growth I have ever seen up here. Huge leaves are being produced now. Right, these guys are setting records for section 1. Some of these odd colors is actually fertilizer burn. So that's not a shortage popping up, that's just some fertilizer burn where I thought it was going to rain and it didn't, and it sat on the beans too long. Even this okra plant, never had okra that big up here. That's about 2.5 feet tall or so. A lot of improvements up here. A lot of improvements. Super green. I mean, you're getting on the same scale as section 3. See the shine and the hole reduction? Yes. So everything top to bottom is now going to affect my deer. This sun hemp plant had been topped a few times. Browse steadily picks up back this way again. You can see where they've shortened it. There's a big gap over here where they keep entering the plot back here and just keep destroying it. See right here. This is kind of stunted because it keeps getting browsed repeatedly. See how they keep stripping that guy? It's going to slow growth down if you put enough pressure on these plants to where they won't perform as well. But I did put out a lot of new potassium up here, so you may see a renewed vigor pop up in these beans. It's just going to take a little longer for it to kick in. We don't even have the full effect of it yet. Matter of fact, really nowhere near. So I figure another 5 days or so, this will drastically change. Same thing back here. They are eating the daylights out of these pockets right here. They cannot fill in. And it continues through there, snakes around and goes back this way. And then it's kind of hit or miss here, which has allowed it to fill in and grow bigger. And then they started picking back up. So now they're trying to eat back into this direction. They've kept all this mowed down for the most part. I mean, very strong browse in here. So now I'm giving him the best nutrition. So it's probably, you know, with the gaps in here, this is not the highest tonnage per se that you can get. But as far as section 1 goes, this right here is probably going to be the best tonnage output it's ever done. So now I'm getting more of my plot where I want it. All right, guys. So this is the result of years of hard work, research. Ground that was literally a pile of crap is now turning into a juggernaut when it comes to tonnage output. And I've got some here before I shut the video off. I've got some leaf sizes in here that's going to rival what 3's doing. They may have been eaten off. I mean, that's getting really good for up here, but it was right here. I remember seeing it. There was some monster looking leaves developing up here. Oh well, that's all right. You've seen, you know, enough leaf sizes before. But anyway, best output it's ever done. Deer are loving it. And I think we got a buck that's probably fixing to break a new record. And it's no coincidence that I'm breaking records in the plot and I'm fixing to set another record with a deer. All right, guys, have a good one. And once my schedule kind of gets back together here, I intend to do some trail cam videos and deer videos showing the progression of Twin Towers, show you a few visitors I've got, and we'll just go from there and get ready for our fall blends. You all have a fantastic day. Hope you like these videos, and as always, hit that like and subscribe button.